Hello, this is a lesson from Unit 4, Module 4, and Session 2. I want you to be able to say at the end of this lesson, I can choose efficient subtraction strategies to solve world record problems. So today I want to introduce to you Zaila Avant-Garde. She won the Scripps National Spelling Bee in 2021. She's the first Black American to earn this title. She also holds 4 Guinness World Records in basketball. So here's her basketball records. In November 14th, 2019, she did the most bounce juggles in 1 minute using 3 basketballs. What do you think a bounce juggle is? If you were thinking that it's kind of like juggling but bouncing basketballs, more than 1 basketball at a time, you would be correct. So as you can see from the picture, sometimes you would have 4 going all at one time. So in November 14th, 2019, she also had the most basketballs bounces in 30 seconds using 4 basketballs. That was 307 bounces. And then in November 2nd, 2020, the most bounce juggles in 1 minute using four basketballs. That was 255 bounce juggles. And in January 26, 2021, the most basketball dribbled at one time, which was 6, which is pretty amazing. I know I myself have tried to do 2 at a time, and that's hard enough. But this would probably take a lot of practice. So, how do you think she would train for something like this, a bounce juggle, to become the world record breaker? Go ahead and pause the video and turn and talk about that for a minute. Okay, so she would probably have to practice for a long time and maybe just practice bouncing 1 basketball at a time for a while and then add 2 and so on. So we're going to do a game of I Have, You Need based on Zaila's record for most basketball bounces in 30 seconds, which was 307. So to break that record, I would need just one more bounce, which would be 308. So I'm going to tell you how many bounces I've done, hypothetically, maybe. And you're going to tell me how many more I would need to break her record. So if I did a total of 208, how many more would I need to have the world record, which would be 308? And you can see the ones place and the tens place is actually the same there. So, and then the hundreds place has just one more 100. So I would need, if you said 100 more bounces, you would be correct. So now we're going to go into a little bit more challenging one. Usually when we play the game I Have, You Need, we use friendly numbers. But in this case, you will need a piece of paper to solve some of these because they are not friendly numbers. And the next one I'm going to give you is if I had, and again, I want you to choose the most efficient subtraction strategy to solve these. And we'll start with the number. And remember, my goal is to get to 308. And if I have, let's say, 156 bounces, how many more do I need to make the world record? So in this case, I want you to look at the subtraction, because we're doing subtraction because we're finding the difference between those two numbers, and difference means subtraction. And look at the strategies poster and see which one you think would make the most sense to do. And if you just simply stack those, you'll see that there is going to need to be some regrouping, because I can't take 5 tens away from none. But it does look like the ones place is fine. So I might just do a simple standard algorithm. And I'd like you to pause the video here and solve. Now that you have solved it, I'm going to see if you got the same thing, which would be 152. So that means I still need 152 bounces to go before I beat her record. The next number is, I'm going to say I have 287 bounces. I'm seeing right away that this number is pretty close to 300. 287 is fairly close. So I'm thinking I might use the constant difference approach here, which means that I would add the same amount to each number and then find the amount between them, because when I shift those numbers over on the number line, I'm still going to have the same space between those. So if I stack that, I always have the larger number on top, which was the record I need, and the bounces that I'm at are going to be underneath. But instead of doing the subtraction right away here, I noticed that again, this is pretty close to 300. If I simply add 3 more would be 290, and that would be 10 more to 300. So if I add 13 to the bottom though, I have to add 13 to the top. Now subtracting 300 from any number is a lot easier than subtracting 287, because now I have 2 zeros on the bottom. And then if I want to do 308 plus 13, I could do 318, 19, 20, 21, 321, and I simply get 1 minus 0, 2 minus 0, 3 minus 3. I only need now 21 bounces to go. If you said 21, you're correct. Now my next problem is going to be, if I am even closer to my goal of 308, I have 294 bounces. So again, I'm finding the difference between those two numbers. And since those numbers are so close together, I'm actually going to use the find the difference strategy. When the two numbers are close together, that's a good strategy to use, which another way to say is just count up. So if I am at 294, I would need 6 more to get to 300 and 8 more to get to 308. And you could also use a number line to do this. And then I simply get 14. So now I only need 14 bounces to go. Now, there is also another dribbler on this page. His name's Corey. And Corey, the dribbler is his nickname, broke her record for the most basketball bounces in 30 seconds using 4 basketballs, actually a little bit later that same year, in May 9th, 2021, with 326 bounces. And he attributes his success to the 4 R's, which are respect, responsibility, ready to learn, and reading is power. How do you think those would actually help him? How would those 4 R's actually help someone succeed? So I want you to think about that and jot it down on the bottom of your page where you have your subtraction. How would respect, responsibility, Reading to learn and reading is power actually help you to succeed. After you have done with that, you're done with this video, and we're going to go on to the next part.